Hi, 7th grade. I hope you had a great weekend. Today we're going to continue in chapter 1. We have a few more lessons before we hit review time and then test. I do want to point out that our live class this week will be on Thursday, so maybe write yourself a note, put it on a sticky, set an alarm on your phone if you have one, so you don't miss it. Okay, so our live will be on Thursday. Today, though, we're going to move into multiplying rational numbers. Okay, so we've already done integers, so I point this out here. This is just like a reminder, right? Rational numbers include integers, okay? And the integer rules were part of 1-3. So here are our rules as a reminder for integers. When we multiply numbers that have the same sign, our answer is positive, right? So a negative times a negative is a positive answer, and a positive times a positive is, of course, still positive. Our second one is when we multiply numbers that have different signs, so one is positive and one is negative, the order doesn't matter, then our answer is negative. Okay, so this is just a reminder. And again, if I know that I pre-wrote this, right? So I'm trying to make my videos quick. So if you aren't done writing, please pause the video and take the time that you need. I'm gonna keep moving. Let's jump into some examples, okay? So we're taking basically negative and positive signs, right, which are integers, and those rules that we learned earlier in the school year. And then we're taking this new material of rational numbers, so we're talking positive decimal numbers, positive and negative, and also fractions. And now you're going to be multiplying all of the numbers, right? So sometimes they'll be whole numbers, sometimes they'll be fractions, sometimes they'll have decimals, sometimes they'll give you one of each. But now you're going to have to pay attention to the signs also, okay? So two things that you know coming together to make our new lesson. So let's start. Here we go. We've got 2.5 mixed number times negative 1.5. To multiply mixed numbers, we have to change them into just a fraction with a numerator and a denominator, right? So we're going to take that 2.5, and hopefully you remember all this. Hopefully the summer wasn't too long. And we multiply the whole number and the denominator, and then we add the numerator. So 2.5 turns into, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5 over 2. 5 over 2 is what that turns into. And then multiplied, and then the negative. The sign is just the whole, whatever it is, right? So that's not part of anything that we're going to be using to change. So don't let that mess you up. So 1.5, 2 times 1, and then plus 1. So 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So we're going to get 3 over 2. And for multiplication, our denominators don't need to be the same. In this case, they are, but that part is just an extra bonus, right? It doesn't actually matter. And you might remember from previous years, you know, you can always cross-reduce in multiplication if you can, which in this case we can't. 2 can't go into 3 and 2 can't go into 5. So when we multiply across, we get a negative number because we have a positive and a negative. So our signs are different, so our answer is negative. And on the top, we're going to have 15, and on the bottom, we're going to have 4. And on a test or a quiz, you would lose a point if you left it like this, because while this is correct, it's not complete, right? Because we don't want to leave anything improper. We want to simplify. So we're going to take our negative 15 over 4 and simplify it. So 4 goes into 15. So again, the negative, don't let it mess you up, right? It's just going to be part of our answer. So 4 goes into 15 3 times, because 4 times 3 is 12. And that leaves 3 left over, and our denominator stays the same. So So negative 3 3/4 is our answer. Okay? Okay. So again, multiplying mixed numbers shouldn't be new, but using positive and negatives with these numbers is the new 7th grade concept. Okay, so make sure that you always check your signs before you finish your problem. Here's our second example. Negative 3.2 times negative 4.1. So we're going to take our decimals, and remember, when we multiply them, they don't have to be lined up. However, in this case, they both have one decimal. So it sort of looks like they don't need to be, but it looks like we did do that, but it wasn't on purpose, right? And I'm just going to remind myself on the side here with a little note. No need to line up decies. Just a little reminder. Okay, and maybe on this one, I didn't, but I should have. I'm going to write no need for common deno, because I don't want to write the whole thing out, but denominator. Okay, so we've got some extra reminders in our notes. And then now we can just multiply normal, right? And then we'll take care of the decimals and the signs at the end. So 2 times 1, 3 times 1. Then we move to the tenths because that's where the 4 is. So when we multiply for the 4, our answer starts in that second column. So we get 8 and 12. So when we multiply and then combine our numbers, we get 1,312, which is not complete because we haven't taken care of the decimals. There was 1 in our first and 1 in our second. So that means total, our answer should have 2 decimals because our problem had 2 decimals, right? If the factors that we're multiplying have decimals, our answer needs to have the total number. So we're going to take that decimal, which was at the end, and we're going to move it the 2 spaces to the left, and we end up with 13.12. And then lastly, check our signs. A negative times a negative, so our signs were the same, which means our answer will be positive, so we can leave it alone. All right, you guys, for homework tonight, you're going to be doing some problems like these. We're on page 41. And we're going to do numbers 7 through 23 odd. I am going to give you the answers tomorrow. Okay, because the answers, we do want to make sure that we're getting these correct. So be sure to double check when you can. If you want to use a calculator to check when you have decimals and can, you may, but you better have work for each problem, otherwise you won't get full credit. All right, so be careful with those signs. Let me know if you have any questions. I do have office hours this week, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 2:15. All right, thanks guys.